Hey everybody, it's Shadowstar and Crystal here for another review of Legends of Tomorrow.
More like Arrow.
Yes, I suppose you could kind of say this is a crossover, which by Legends standards it was pretty By Arrow standards it wasn't bad, but that's by Arrow standards.
But it didn't make sense.
This timeline makes
Last we checked, Diggle's child was a girl named Sarah, so...
And last we checked, Slade Wilson had a son named Joe, not Grant, but who knows.
Well, I guess...
But then again, if I suppose John Diggle Jr. can steal the name of Connor Hawke, anything's possible. Look, this episode...
I guess baby Sarah grew up to be trans.
Look, I'm going to say this without getting too into detail, but like Rip says, this is a potential future, and by potential he means it will make no sense with anything we'll ever learn in future episodes of Arrow. Believe me when I say nothing lines up. The only good thing I can compliment in terms of lining up with Arrow is notice the only people confirmed to be alive are Oliver and Felicity. Everyone else is dead. This keeps the secret of who's in the grave in Arrow a mystery.
Oh yeah, fair.
That's clever, and that's about the only thing they did. But everything else, like we said, I won't spoil what happens in future Arrow episodes, but I'll flat out say this, pretty much none of this future matches up even close to future Arrow episodes. Trust me, nothing we see can make sense with this episode.
Yeah.
That being said...
One thing I do like is... Okay, so many time travel movies and shows have people see their future self, but there are some people who come up with the logic of if you get on a time machine and go to the future, the timeline will assume that you're not coming... No, some people say the timeline will assume you're not coming back and that you disappeared the day you got in the time machine. And that's sort of what this one did, in the sense that Ray and Sarah left and they were just gone.
Well, most movies I've seen don't. Most movies assume you make the trip back home. Like in Back to the Future, logically, when they went to the future, you would assume Marty wouldn't be there because he's still time traveling.
Yeah.
But it's the plot of Sarah wanting to save the future is a bit dumb because, honestly, that'd be like if when they went to the crap timeline in Back to the Future, they said, well, we're not going to go back in time and fix it. We're going to fix it now, even though we're going to fix it.
Well, it's not that she wanted to stay forever. She just wanted to help for now. Like, she did bring up a good point of, well, what if I die on this mission to stop Savage? Then I won't be there to stop this future from happening.
I guess that's a valid point, but...
From what we were told, this future happened because Ray and Sarah were not there to help when something terrible happened.
And that just raises so many questions. So many questions. But I suppose we'll never know how the future somehow got from season 4 to here, and we know it never lines up, but that's a whole different mess of stories we'll get into at the end of the season.
God.
The timeline doesn't make sense. Getting out of that, we also had, great, relationship drama with Kendra.
Oh my God, yes. Ray and Jax wanted her. Stein tried to be a crappy wingman. In the end, she said, no, I don't want to date anyone because life is complicated.
The only other side plot was, of course, we had Mick and Snart.
Yep, Mick wanted to stay.
Mick wanted to stay, Snart wanted to, which it does show that Snart's starting to take to this more than Mick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although he did say earlier on, I don't leave my crew and things like that.
Which I suppose that ties in because, that's why he wanted to go help Rip and Sarah.
Yeah.
But yeah, all in all, it was just kind of
Especially at that moment when Grant Wilson showed up and said to all the criminals, right, you guys gotta help me go find and kill Rip and Sarah and Connor. That's when Snart realized, okay, we're on the wrong side.
Okay, the question is, what the hell is Grant Wilson's accent? He just sounds like a pirate. He doesn't sound like Slade, who had an Australian accent. Although even Slade didn't have a perfect Australian accent. Although, as we established, Manu Bennett was New Zealand. I don't know what this guy is at all. To be fair, Slade was from Australia. Presumably, Grant Wilson has lived most of his life in America. That still doesn't answer what the fuck his accent is.
I don't know.
I don't know. This show with its accents doesn't always make sense. I just noticed, with the exception of the last line, this episode has the least amount of Gideon we've had so far because she was offline the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess I'll only give it a 6.
Wow. I'll just give it a 6.5. That's going to be one of the lowest rated Legends you'll get.
Yeah.
Even by season 1 standards, that's weak. But like I said, oh boy, it doesn't have much of that Legends charm because we're mostly...
No, usually when I rewatch Legends, I skip this one. It doesn't play much part in the grand scheme of things.
Actually, I'd say the only lingering thing is of all the plots, the only lingering thing is the stuff with Mick and Snart.
Yeah, I was going to say that, because later on they bring it up that he wanted to stay and Snart forced him.
Even later, when we see other versions of Future Star City, it's more enjoyable than this. But this was just depressing. And not in a good kind of depressing, but, it was just boring, not even good
annoying.
Arrow. It wasn't, but the weird thing is, it was boring Arrow. Because think of it this way, there's good Arrow, there's crappy, piss you off Arrow, and then there's just kind of do nothing Arrow. And that's what this is.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I often say this, sometimes a boring episode is kind of worse than an upsetting episode. Think of it this way, with an upsetting episode like Season 4, you can at least kind of take joy in, especially when you're reviewing it, you can kind of take joy in being mad about the episode.
Yeah.
Plus, you've at least got something to talk about, even if it's bad. You remember bad things, you remember good things, you don't remember boring things.
Yeah.
A boring episode is sometimes worse than a bad episode.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, what's the next episode called?
Marooned.
Well, Sarah said she doesn't want to be marooned in this timeline, so we'll see what happens next episode. I remember what happens, do you?
I think so.
Well, we'll see you next time for more Legends and other things as well.
See you next time, guys.
See you next time.